Okay, yeah, great to be back out on the Spectrum floor. Great to get the kinks out. That's kind of what the exhibition games are for, obviously. And with playing a closed door scrimmage, we only get one of those opportunities, and so I thought we kind of got done what we needed to do. I thought we started the game with a really good defensive presence. One of the things I was really happy about is the way our guys translated our game prep and carried that over into the game. I thought they did a tremendous job in carrying out the responsibilities that we prepared them to do, and that's really what you use the exhibition game for. It's kind of a trial run on, hey, here's how we prepare for games, and for the most part, we graded out pretty well in that area, and therefore they resorted in just spreading the floor and driving the ball. I didn't think we guarded the ball very well in space. That's an area we've got to improve in, but a lot of really good things.
Questions? 38 three-point attempts, that's going to be the norm. Right?
Yeah, we'll probably struggle to get that many up, but we'd like to get 25 to 30 up a night. 26 assists on 31 baskets is the kind of team I think we have. I think they're unselfish. They'll make plays for their teammates. We're not afraid to make the extra pass, and we really have no choice. That's the kind of team we have to be. I'd like to get a little more play out of Alex inside in terms of post touches than we did tonight, but there's a lot of open looks early in the clock, and guys took advantage of those. And then they played a lot of zone, they're in the middle part of the game, and we got a lot of threes against the zone as well. So percentage wasn't very good in the first half, but it evened out, and we can shoot the ball. I mean, that's a strength of our team, and it's going to have to be a strength of our team for the entire year.
I saw that Clay had a bit of a back brace or something going on at halftime. Was that play into any of his playing time? Is he struggling with anything?
He battles his back constantly, so it's just constant treatment. They've got him in the brace. Hopefully that won't be an all-year thing, but we did not cut his minutes because of any of that. He's kind of been battling that.
Gotcha.
What about Julius? Do you find out?
MRI yesterday, and I guess it's good news. It could have been worse, but probably 4 to 6 weeks with a calf tear, and we were afraid of season-ending surgery. If the tear would have been too bad, but they're thinking sometime around the Utah game or maybe right after. So, that's a blow. I mean, he was getting our backup point guard minutes in practice and would have gotten those tonight, and so Crew Ainge has been off his mission 3 months, and Abel's only been here a year and didn't play much last year, so those guys have got to step up and be good at the backup point.
Tonight we saw a lot of whistles, and again, I know they started to really emphasize the hands and the stuff, but it looks like Kobe thinks they're even doing even more. It's all a drive and kick basketball game all over the place with everybody. Is that you want to play that way? Is that the way everybody has to play?
We commented during the game, it's really hard to set a good screen in a game anymore and not get called for something. I mean, you cannot move anything. This year, if your feet are wider than your shoulders, they're going to call that as well. It's very hard to screen, and so that kind of lends itself to less screening, more cutting, more movement, and that's obviously the way we want to play and have to play. But guarding the ball is probably the most difficult thing to do in Division I basketball right now, because even when the offense creates space, I mean, if you make a stand at all, then there's contact, they call a foul. And there was a couple of times I told our guys tonight, I said, I have no idea what you did. And your hands are up, your hands are back, you're moving laterally, and you get the whistle. And so because of that, your team defense really has to be good. You got to be able to take up space in those gaps, and you got to get help from your buddies in guarding the ball. It's almost impossible to put a guy out there in space and guard a really good player who's aggressively bringing it at you.
You started 2 new guys tonight with Brown and Isby. Talk just a little bit about their performance and what you're hoping to see from them moving forward.
Both talented guys, both junior college players that we recruited to play right away. Dwayne's a guy that's got to wear a lot of hats for us. He's got to rebound the ball. He's got to make threes. He's got to be able to put the ball on the floor and make plays for his teammates. I'd like to get him into the post a little bit, and defensively he's got to be good for us. So he's really probably got the biggest load in terms of that position, because of what the force turned into in college basketball. There's most nights you're playing a guy that can drive it to the hole, shoot threes, post you up, and that's tough. D'Angelo is a talented guy, has been a scorer his whole career. Got to get him a little more aggressive on the boards, and I thought he had some needless turnovers and some careless turnovers with footwork, things like that. We just got to get him to settle in, and he's got to get a lot better defensively. He got himself in foul trouble in the first half, really, on the defensive end. So those two guys, like, we've had a lot of junior college guys around here for a lot of years, and you kind of got to play through some mistakes early and get them to the point where they're on the same page, and that's kind of what we're going to have to go through with those two guys.
Everybody knows Kobe and Sam, what they bring every night. Who are maybe some of the guys, maybe it's the two we just talked about, that you're looking to, that'll take the pressure off of them when teams focus their defensive strategy on those two?
Well, we've got to be balanced, and that's what I was talking about earlier. We have to get production from Alex Dargington. He's a mismatch at the 5. We have to put him in positions where he can help us. Brock Miller off the bench, I think, will be a guy that has kind of an off-the-bench mentality. He's one of those focused scorers. If he's open, if he sees daylight, he's going to shoot the ball, and he's a very good shooter. And so, I like that approach from him. He's got to get a little better in some other areas, but again, here's a guy that's just off his mission and getting his first taste of it. But Diogo Brito, I think, has come a long way. He makes plays for his teammates. He's improved as a shooter. We need a little contribution there as well. And Quinn Taylor's Mr. Solid, Mr. Make things work, Mr. Make his teammates better. He's got to chip in and do some things for us as well. But that starting 5 has a lot of they have a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure to produce, every night, and that's one of the reasons we kept their minutes down tonight. We've got to really watch as those guys go through the year in terms of practice, in terms of minutes when we can get them rest, to keep them fresh, because they're going to log a lot of minutes.
What did Julian do?
Julian got hurt last week in practice on the very last play of practice. Non-contact injury, took a step, felt like he had gotten kicked. So usually you worry about an Achilles injury when that happens, when a guy just goes down and couldn't put any weight on it, couldn't flex it at all. And so we were, like I said, 4 to 6 weeks doesn't sound very good to me, but I guess that's best case scenario.
What's going to be the key? What's going to be the key for you guys dealing with, lack of height throughout the season? I know that we talked about the 3-pointers and hitting shots and stuff like that, but what's going to be the key for you guys to battle through that kind of disadvantage that you have right now?
I think offensively you can be hard to guard in a lot of different ways. You can play 5 guards. You can go big and play power basketball. You can space the floor like we're able to do with a little bit of a mixture. So I think offensively it doesn't have to be a disadvantage at all. We have to put our guys in the right positions, and they have to trust each other and make that extra pass. And we call it accordion basketball. The ball's got to go in and come back out, and go in and come back out. And I think we'll get to that point where we can be hard to guard on most nights. Now, we're gonna have to make shots, but I think the whole key to our season, I've mentioned this to a couple of you, is rebounding on both ends of the floor, but defensive rebounding. I like our guys' mentality about defense. They want to guard. They want to be a good defensive team. I think we'll do a good job of that. The question is, can we finish possessions with a defensive rebound? And if we can, I think we can be an improved defensive team over last year, even though we're smaller. If we can't, we're going to struggle, and that's something we're really focusing on. We've got to be a team that blocks out extremely well, and we've got to be a team where our guards must be good defensive rebounders. We can't run out, or we can't stand and watch. We can't think, well, Alex is going to get 9 or 10 a night, or this guy or that guy. We all have to defensive rebound, and I think we will. They're a scrappy, competitive group. I love that about them. They come to work every day. I think they've only had one bad practice out of the first 24 or 25 days. They have really come to work, and I credit Sam and Kobe and Alex, Julian, those guys that were here last year. They've done a great job being leaders, and I couldn't ask for much more to this point from what they've given in terms of wanting to be a good basketball team. We do have some deficiencies. That's not going to be hard to see in terms of size, but we can overcome them with the right mentality.
So speaking on Sam Arnold, one of my favorite things towards the end of last season was watching his assist to turnover ratio.
Yeah.
And tonight, 8 assists, lead the team, 0 turnovers. How important is it going to be for him to have those games where he's able to really involve his teammates, really get the offense right, but also be that smart?
Yeah, Sam is tremendous. He reminds me a lot of Tyler Newbold, who could make a lot of plays without making many turnovers. Really values the ball. Sam plays in a different style, has to do it a different way. But first half tonight he has 7 assists and no turnovers, and that just really comes natural to him. And the good thing about that is it rubs off on the rest of our team, because Sam's a tremendous shooter, and yet he turns down a lot of his shots to get his teammate an open shot. And that's a huge part of what we do, and that's a huge part of who we are as an offensive team. And he's probably the ringleader in that. And like I said, he rubs off on everybody else. So he's a really gifted passer.
Anything else?